Hey guys, Coach Matt Springer for our final installment of how to use barbell complexes and their application. And the third reason you might use a barbell complex is to overstrengthen a weak aspect of the movement. Whether that is you get out of position pulling the barbell off the floor, perhaps you catch a weight and you can't stand it up, or commonly that I see in CrossFitters is that the clean drastically overpowers the jerk. Talking about two of those three examples, you get stuck in the hole. You're able to pull the bar up, you maybe even be able to power clean what you cannot squat snatch. Incredibly common. What do you do for a complex in that case? This sounds overly simple, but it is this simple. If you need to overstrengthen an aspect of the movement, you simply have to do more repetitions in that range of motion. For example, if you're stuck in the hole, you need to squat more. You might do one clean, catch it in the hole, and then immediately afterwards, you're gonna do 2 front squats. I mean, it sounds overly simplistic, but if that is your common problem, you cannot afford to only do cleans. You have to figure out some way in a complex to add more complexity to it and get more repetitions through the squat. One thing to note on doing this, although it is a very simple, straightforward approach, these squats that you do and the repetitions that you select could easily be 3, could easily be 4. You do more repetitions so long as the front squat is the same velocity. You can hit the hole, you can bounce out of the hole, and you're elastic. As long as those properties are in place, as they would be with a traditional clean, a 1RM, then you can tack on more reps. And that's kind of where there's a little more artistry in selecting the volume of squats that you might do afterwards. If you can maintain the same properties that you would in a clean, you ought to do more reps. More volume, in most cases, is going to lead to more improvements in your lifts. The other error that I would see in the 2 Olympic lifts is that you can clean drastically more than you can jerk. This was such a common prescription at my first weight training hall. It was almost all that we did. We almost always proceeded a clean with 3 jerks. And there's a lot that goes into, if you need to jerk, if your jerk is weak, you have to find a way to jerk more. Something beyond using the blocks, you can see that this is a complex where you're doing 3 jerks where you lower the weight back to your shoulders. You have to think of that as 3 eccentrics, 3 over eccentrics where you're lowering very heavy weight back to your shoulders. It might not even be a technical thing where you're trying to get more repetitions built on efficiency in the jerk. It might be a piece where the aspect of simply lowering back to your shoulders is what is most beneficial. So you can take that principle to the bank that it's not just with complexes if your jerk is lacking, but you might have to get off the blocks and actually lower some heavy weight back to your shoulders. You can't simply drop it overhead and pick it back up and do a 1-for-1 because you're never strengthening from an over eccentric. So I hope all those items on how I might design complexes help you too. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at springer@opexfit.com.